Hello, my sweet, gorgeous angels, and welcome, I guess, to the Overthought podcast. Well, it's just called Overthought. But let me tell you, this podcast has been in the works for months, okay? This podcast has been in the works for a good minimum 4 months, probably longer. I have the first episode filmed. I have the first episode edited. And nothing in me has been able to move forwards from there. I have 2 whole other episodes fully written out, ready for me to record. I was ready to go, okay? I now think this is going to be my first episode, which is insane because look at the state of me. In my head, this was going to be such a cute thing. Like, I was going to record in my car, which I probably will do from now on. But in my head, I was like, I'm going to record in my car. Like, it's going to be a kiki. Like all my old YouTube videos used to be. Like, that was my plan. That's why I stopped uploading on Nobody Cares. Anyway. And, like, I've been meaning to post these episodes for so long. And, like, do something with this for so long. However, my life is in shambles right now. That's really dramatic and not true. I have a very rich and abundant life, okay? I'm as privileged could be. But I, for the first time in a really, 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 really long time, have lost all sense of direction in my life, and I have lost all sense of having any kind of a foundation. I've talked non-stop about the fact that my 8-year-long relationship ended in May last year. So I've since then just been like figuring myself out, and that's been fun and that's been cute, and like I've been really happy being single. But something that happened a few weeks ago that was not on my radar is I am now leaving my job, and I have no fucking where to go. I'm about to be unemployed, divas. Fun employed, if you will. And for the first time in maybe like 6 or 7 years, I have absolutely zero sense of direction. And I have absolutely zero stability. I have absolutely zero idea of what to do. I feel like I just all of a sudden have nothing. And it's making me feel sick. It's making me feel sick to my stomach. It's making me feel so unwell. It's like I feel so heavy. I feel so confused. I feel so foggy. I am overthinking everything, which is why this podcast is gonna be called Overthought, because that is just what I do all the time about everything. But like it's overthinking, but like I'm not overthinking and spiraling by myself. Like, I'm not crashing out by myself. I'm doing it to you. With you, to you. Maybe we can, I don't know, maybe you're going through this with me. Maybe I'm just spilling my guts and no one gets. And that's okay. Maybe this is just therapy for me. Anyway, again, nobody gets. Move on. Okay. Yeah, I feel so lost and confused right now, and I have not felt this way for a while. I am in a position where I guess for the first time in my life, like really what the issue is that I spent my entire early 20s and before basing my choices and my decisions around my relationship, and every decision that I made was about how I was gonna make my relationship work. It was a long distance relationship, and every decision I ever made was about how we were going to keep that together, and that really was my sense of direction. And I don't have that anymore, and that's scary and confusing, because now the only decisions I have to make are for myself, and the only person it's really going to affect is me. I don't have anyone telling me what to do. I don't have anybody telling me what to do, because I know what people want me to do and what people think I should do, but that doesn't necessarily feel entirely right to me. And that's just a really confusing place to be. It's a really confusing place to be, to have just lost foundations that I thought I was going to have for a really long time. I almost feel overwhelmed by the amount of choice that I have in what to do next. I feel overwhelmed by the fact that I can kind of just go and do whatever I want, but like, what is the right thing to do, and what's too, I was gonna say too spontaneous, but that's not the word. What's too reckless? What's just me not thinking things through? Should I think things through, or should I just do something and just see where it takes me? Like, I feel so lost. And I guess I'm also grieving. Don't really think I'm grieving my relationship that much anymore, but I'm definitely grieving this job. None of this has happened the way I thought it was going to happen, and none of this has happened in the way I knew I wasn't going to stay at this job, but this isn't how I pictured it ending. It was very abrupt, and it was a shock, and I just kind of had to make the decision in the moment, I guess, and without anything to fall back on. I just knew it was the right decision, but now what? It almost felt like, like in a film or in a TV show where the person's like, I quit, and it's like monumental, and like it's such a good feeling to finally walk away. Like, that's how I feel, but I guess then reality hits, and I think because it's coming up to the point where like I actually will not be going in anymore, I think it's becoming more real. And maybe that's why I'm freaking out more, because I guess I thought I would have something figured out by now, and I don't. But something I do feel is that a part of me needs to sit in this discomfort. A part of me needs to be in this position where I don't know what's going to happen, because I feel like I've never been in a position, or I haven't for a really long time, been in a position where I just don't know. And I think sometimes, well, that feeling's always going to be hard. Like, the unknown is always hard. Not knowing is always hard, because by human nature we want a plan and we want some kind of answer. Like, the unknown is always terrifying and unsettling. But I do think that part of me really needs to be in this place of not knowing, and in this place of nothingness, I guess, in this place of not being able to control anything and not being able to make anything happen and do anything right now. I think a part of me really needs to sit with that discomfort and just accept it for what it is. And it's always been true in my life, and everybody always says this, that, well, things never turn out the way you think they're going to. And that's exactly what I've learned from this situation. Like, everything that's happened to me over the past year, I couldn't have predicted any of it whatsoever. Nothing ever happens the way we think it's going to. We always have some kind of sense of direction, but it never ever happens the way we think it's going to. So it's kind of like, well, why am I trying to make something happen when something will happen and I'm never going to know what it is until it happens? I don't think that really makes sense, but B, wait, where the hell was I even going with that? Oh, okay, I know where I was going. B, everybody always says, and it has been true in my life, the more quiet and still that you are, the more answers come to the surface. And maybe that's just the place that I'm in. Maybe my instinct is to try and control everything. I'm a Capricorn moon, and I love that about myself, because it means I love structure, I love stability, and I haven't had much stability for a really long time. I've had stability in my own special way, but not what would be considered like stable for other people, but I had a routine, I had my own version of structure. And maybe this is teaching me to not have that. I was actually talking to somebody today about the fact that, like, realistically what I needed was to be pushed. I think I've been stuck and trapped for years in my job and in my relationship, and both of those things, as awful as it is to admit and as sad and hard it is to admit, have been holding me back in such huge ways and keeping me stuck and restricted. And don't get me wrong, both of those things definitely served me for a time, but I've outgrown them, and I needed to be pushed into a position where I explore my potential, I guess. And the only way that was going to happen, the only way I was going to explore potential and explore options, was by being pushed to do it and forced to do it and forced out of my comfort zone. And I do think that, well, everything happens for a reason. I believe that with my whole heart, and I believe there's a divine plan and divine guidance, and the way that this happened was just so divinely guided. Like, the way that this happened, I, as I say, like, would never have predicted, and the events that unfolded, like, step by step, really, moment by moment, led me to this point, which can only lead me to believe that there's something that's going to happen from here, and there's like a reason that this has happened this way, and that the best is yet to come. And sometimes we really do need to be in this stuck, awful, confusing, foggy place before we go anywhere else. It's kind of like, well, I am in the transition period, and we have to be in the transition period, otherwise there's no transition. We have to be in this period of the in-between stage. We have to go from one thing to the other, and to go from one thing to the other, we have to go through the middle part of that, the uncomfortable part, the part where we're not the old version and we're not doing the old thing, but we're not quite the new version of ourselves yet, and we're not quite doing the new thing. But we have to go through that middle part of the transition to finish the transition. We can't just expect ourselves to jump from one thing to the next. That's not really how things work. And that would be so much easier and more comfortable, but that's just not how it works. We have to go through that middle period of change and transition, and that's where I am right now, and it's very uncomfortable. I'm letting an old part of me disappear without fully being able to know or comprehend or act on this new version of me, this new part of me. And maybe that's what the transition period is. Maybe this in-between stage is exactly that. It's that place where you're supposed to sit with yourself, sit with the discomfort, and figure things out internally, not even externally. And maybe that's what this period is all about, is that internal reflection, that internal decision making, not just jumping into the next thing, but taking this time to figure out why this transition needed to happen, what's going on internally, like, who do I want to be, who am I becoming, what version of myself do I want to be, and how do I want to show up in the world. Not by just trying to figure out what the next step is, but trying to figure out, well, what I want, I guess, and just allowing things to come to the surface. Like I say, like, being in the discomfort, being in this almost stagnant period, and just allowing what wants to come up, and allowing that voice within me, I guess, or this new version of me to speak up. Maybe I haven't had the space to figure that out properly because I've been so hung up on other things and so busy doing other things, and maybe I haven't had this time and space to fully sit with myself and figure that out for myself. Maybe I haven't figured things out the way I thought I had. Maybe there's things I haven't integrated yet, lessons I haven't integrated yet that are gonna eventually speak up in this period of waiting, in this period of stagnation, I guess, in this period of transition. It's also just that in between stage of like, it's just change. Like, it's just change. It's letting go of a part of my life that has been my foundation and just not having that anymore. And that's uncomfortable because I knew what was going to happen every day. I knew what I was going to do every single day. I knew what time I was waking up. I knew what my routine was throughout the day. I knew where I was going. I knew what time I was going to be home and what happens when I get home and what I do after that. And I don't have that anymore. And I mean, our brains want predictability. Like, that's why we stay stuck in these situations, because our subconscious minds seek safety, our brains seek safety, our nervous system seeks safety. And what safety is predictability. Safety isn't always the best case scenario. What our brain and body thinks is safe is predictability, knowing what's going to happen next. And I just all of a sudden don't have that. And that's an uncomfortable and in some ways scary place to be. Having said all of this, it's also the biggest opportunity I've ever had. It's the biggest opportunity I've ever had to make any decision that I want to make and to choose anything I want to choose without... I can hear a dog and I don't know where this dog is coming from. Who has a dog? It's the biggest opportunity I have to make a decision that's purely for myself and my own future and is not being directed by anyone or anything else. It's the biggest opportunity I have to move towards something that fulfills my potential, I guess, that in a way where I don't box myself in anymore, I don't hold myself back anymore, I don't, I guess, limit myself anymore. I've never been gifted with this much potential ever, I don't think. And that is a gift. Like, the amount of potential I have ahead of me right now is a gift. And when we're in the unknown, that is the gift. The gift of the unknown is that we don't know and all we can do is try. And we have an infinite amount of possibility and opportunity ahead of us. I think that is the gift in breaking out of predictability and breaking out of routine, is that all of a sudden we can choose something different. And don't get me wrong, we can choose something different any moment. Like, we can be in our routine and still choose something different. But as I say, I think the universe has pushed me into this space where I don't have a choice but to choose something different. Maybe I wasn't making those choices when I should have been making them, and I needed that extra push. And here we are, lost and confused, and with a sea of possibility ahead of us. And maybe we just have to keep fucking swimming, okay? Maybe we have to do Dory and just keep fucking swimming and just see where the hell we go. And that's scary because we want to know. Like, we always want to know. We always want to know what the hell's going to happen next. And that is normal. That is human nature. We want predictability. We want what we know. We like what we know. We are comfortable in what we know. And when we don't have that anymore, it's hard and it is uncomfortable and it's scary and overwhelming and it's entirely unpredictable. But maybe we don't ever fully find our true potential, and maybe we don't ever fully find the things that we really want to do and the person that we really want to be without being pushed through these periods of change and discomfort, and without being pushed into the uncertainty and the unknown and being forced to make changes and make different choices. And also, maybe that is like no way, like there's no one way to figure things out. Like, maybe this isn't a period of needing to make the final decision of what my life is going to be forever. Maybe it is just a what feels good right now kind of situation and what resonates with me right now, and I just follow that step by step and see where it takes me. Maybe this isn't an opportunity for me to figure out my entire life. It was just a push to find a different level of potential in myself and a different way of being in myself. Maybe I just needed to be pushed to expose myself to a greater world, to different opportunities, and that doesn't mean making a solid decision and choosing the exact right opportunity and sticking with it forever, but maybe that just means exploring options more than I was. Maybe it just means exploring versions of myself more than I was. Maybe it means trying things more than I was and putting myself out there more than I was, like I'm doing right now. Maybe that is all it is. Maybe this is just a moment in time to try things and to not settle for things and to not force things and to not feel pressured to make these huge life decisions and figure out exactly what I need to do next, and that needs to be the right decision. Maybe this is just a period of experimentation, of exploring. Maybe that period of not knowing and the unknown is just a period of exploration, just a period of seeing, just a period of seeing what's gonna happen. And again, we don't want that. We don't want to see what's gonna happen. We want to know what's gonna happen. But maybe this is where the true essence and true magic of our lives is born, and where inspiration is planted and inspiration is listened to and heard and followed. Because also I have experienced and I do see that when we are in our routine and our day-to-day, when we are following our structure, we're on autopilot and we're not forced to listen to anything else. Maybe being in these structures and these routines stop us from listening to anything else within us. Maybe we're so in autopilot and so busy and there's so much mental clutter and so much going on that we don't have an opportunity to listen to our intuition, to listen to inspiration. Maybe we miss inspiration day to day because we're in autopilot, and maybe we're pushed into these quieter moments of nothingness and stillness so that we can hear that inspiration, so we can receive what our intuition and our inner voice is telling us. Maybe it's not about trying to figure things out and trying to make choices and make decisions, but just to listen. Maybe that is the only goal, is to just listen. And maybe there's something that's coming up that I haven't been listening to. Maybe there's something that wants to speak up that I haven't had room or space to listen to. And I had to be pushed into this period of nothingness in order for that voice to be heard and that inspiration to be acknowledged. Maybe that voice inside me just needed some space to be heard and acknowledged. And the only way to do that was for me to be unemployed, fun-employed. My bad. So I don't know, maybe this just is where I'm at right now, and maybe this just is where I'm going to be for a while. And maybe I don't know, okay? I don't know. And maybe it's fine that I don't know, and maybe I just need to be in this period of I don't know. Including the fact that I don't know if I'm even going to put this anywhere, because this is not how I envision this being in my head, but something in me, that little voice, just spoke up. So maybe I will put this out. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe you'll be watching this, maybe you'll fucking not, who knows. But yeah, this could be a thing. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But if it is, I love you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for maybe listening and maybe watching. And maybe welcome to the Overthought podcast. Welcome to Overthought, I guess. Maybe it's only up from here. Who fucking knows? Okay, I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope you're doing good. If you're in a period of the unknown, just know you're not alone. Okay? And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out over time together. Okay? I love you so much. I appreciate you so much.